Did the Milwaukee Brewers in action on deadline day say to us that maybe they're quite not ready to go for it just yet? Go for a World Series championship? They're not ready yet? We'll get to that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Brewers have a game coming up here in a couple of hours on Wednesday afternoon, the rubber game of that series with the Braves. We'll get to all that coming up here, including a loss on Tuesday night. But first, the big story, of course, the trading deadline. And the Brewers were relatively quiet on the trading deadline day. Quiet, period. Didn't do a darn thing on deadline day. We'll get to all this coming up here on Locked On Brewers. Good to have you along. Chuck Freeman, longtime sportscaster here in the state of Wisconsin, proud host of Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making us your first listen to every day. And this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The easiest, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB. Remember, use that lowercase LockedOnMLB for that first deposit match up to $100. I know a lot of you are disappointed out there. You are, because, you know, we want to see, we see other teams. We see the Royals. We see the Pittsburgh Pirates. We see the St. Louis Cardinals. And, of course, we see the Dodgers, the Yankees, or everybody making trades on Tuesday. Every time the alert came up on the phone, it was like, okay, is this happening? Who didn't watch the MLB network to find out what was going on? Glued all day on a hot day in Wisconsin, glued to figure out, you know, to find out, hopefully, if the Brewers are going to make one more deal. I think we all wanted that big splash. That name, no, wasn't going to happen. And the Brewers, you know, they've made some moves. They just didn't make any moves on deadline day. They got Montas on Monday, Savale a couple of weeks ago, and Nick Mears for their bullpen. So you could say, you know, they did do something. They just didn't do it on the deadline day. Now, they did not make the big splash that we all hoped. You know, a number of teams out there did, and we all know who they are. Okay. But even like a mid-level move, like a Josh Bell going to Arizona for cash considerations, one of those. Mark Canha going to San Francisco. And of course, Mark Canha last year, that was one of the best deadline moves in Major League Baseball. And even he quietly went from Detroit to San Francisco. And I know the Brewers got a glutton of first baseman already, but I mean, man, that guy gave us some professional at-bats last year. I would have been, if you would have told me, Mark Canha, we'll stick him out in the outfield, get some turns in the outfield and DH him and move him around a little bit, because it seemed like he hit well at AmFam Field. But, you know, those aren't high-level moves, the Josh Bells, the Mark Canhas. And, of course, when that alert came on the phone at 4:45, where was Jack Flaherty? Oh, the shocker. The Los Angeles Dodgers. No way. Knocked me over with a feather on that one. Yeah, I mean, like the Dodgers really need Jack Flaherty. You know, but the Brewers were not going to make any moves. Now, Matt Arnold, the Brewers general manager, says, yeah, they looked around. They tinkered with trying to tinker the offense. But he says at the end of the day, they decided that they were good with what they had offensively. Oh, my gosh. You better not be good what they have offensively, because offensively, I know we talk about pitching. I know we talk about length. I know we talk about getting another starter, like Jack Flaherty, you name it. Yeah. But let's face it, how many times do we want, as Brewers fans, want to cash in the chips down 2-0? Well, they came back Monday down 2-0, but most times, when that game got 4-0 on Tuesday night, I mean, that was game, set, and match. They were not coming back against, what's his name? Bryce Elder on the hill for the Braves. Guy has been pitching horribly, and the Brewers made him look like Greg Maddux on the hill, pitching into the seventh inning. Yeah, this team could have used another left-handed bat. They could have used a stick. Just another jolt in that offense. But my belief is that Arnold possibly tried to do something. I mean, you're always trying to do something to improve your team. But he didn't feel that he saw anything out there that was going to help his team. And he didn't want to give away any of his top prospects for making a bold move. And the reason why they're not making a bold move, because I think the reason is they don't think this team is World Series championship caliber just yet. Of course, the old saying, you get into the tournament and anything can happen. Look at Arizona last year, and that's an example. And there's some other ones along the way, okay? But I think in 2011, they thought that was championship caliber. 2018, certainly they thought that was championship caliber. Even 2008, they do not think 2024 they feel it's playoff caliber, okay? But I don't feel like in their heart of hearts that they want to, quote unquote, like we say here in Wisconsin, go for it. The Brewers are not in, the players might, but I don't think the front office quite ready to pull the trigger on a blockbuster move where they're going to give up some free agent, some prospects for one of these rentals who's going to become a free agent. They're not in that mode. Maybe in a couple of years, but and these moves that the Brewers made, they're nice moves. I mean, getting Montas and Mears, okay, Savale. I mean, these are nice moves. They're just not moves that are going to wow us at all. Okay. And sometimes, like the Mark Canha move last year, didn't wow us at the time, but we kind of liked it when he came to the plate and came out with some big moments for this team last year. So just because they didn't make any major moves, okay, it doesn't necessarily mean it was a complete failure. I'm going to take that side of it, I guess, because Doug Melvin always said that some of the best moves you make are moves that you don't make. Like Houston giving up all those prospects, 3 in the top 20 of their organization for Kikuchi for a rental. I mean, that's just too much. And they are hurting the pitching staff. But yeah, would we have liked to have seen Jack Flaherty come here? Sure. I would have been happy with Josh Bell. I would have been happy with Mark Canha. And these are low-level moves, this Bell and Canha thing. Trevor Rogers. That wasn't a low-level move. Man, put him in the rotation. Now we're talking rotation, but I was looking for a bat. On Tuesday, I was looking for a left-handed bat, and nothing happened. Were the Brewers the only team not to make a deal? Were they the only first place or pennant contending team not to make a deal? Because I feel like everybody else did. But I also feel that the company line, everybody's playing this company line with Murphy and everyone. Hey, we like what we got. We like what we got. I just don't want to be in the playoffs for 27 hours again. And I'm not saying one player added to this offense was going to do it. And they're going young, the Brewers are. I've said this about the Brewers. They're developing young players and they're winning. That's like the best possible scenario with these guys, because I do think the future is very bright for the Milwaukee Brewers. Very bright. I think they should have some sustained winning seasons over the next several seasons. Competing for a championship, we don't know that. But I think with the young guys they got right now, and I feel like they're only going to get better, there's some talent on here that's going to be around for a while that I feel that they're going to be one of the players, obviously, and they have been in the National League Central. Winning with young players. Now, I would have liked to see a couple of veterans added to this. Well, Montas is a veteran. He's 31. He's been around for a while. But another bat. Like I said the other day, I'm not counting on Christian Yelich to come back this season. He might come back at the end of the season. My gut feeling is they might just shut him down for the rest of the year with the back. May end up having surgery. Who knows? It seems like that's the ultimate way he's going to have to go. But maybe they get him back toward the end of the season. But between now and then, I still want to catch the Dodgers. I want to catch the Phillies. Yeah, they're on their way. The division, I'm not going to take it for granted that it's won, but I think they're in the right direction. They got a seven-game lead going into the night on Tuesday night in the division. They're the best team in the division, but I'm looking further right now. I'm looking to catch the Dodgers. I'm looking to avoid a wild card round where you could get beaten 2 games and you played 162 games and your season is gone in 2 games like last year. I want to surpass the Dodgers. Maybe the Phillies, I don't know. They're 4 or 5 games behind them, but the Dodgers are reasonable. You can catch them. And the Dodgers are, they went out and made some moves and bettered their team, but I want to catch the Dodgers and get that second seed. So you have a bye in the first round and you'll play some home games in that divisional series. You'll have home field advantage in that divisional series. That's what I want. I think that's and it's reasonable too. I don't think it's unreasonable. Maybe before the season it was catching the Dodgers, but the Dodgers are okay. They're playing well coming out of the break, I guess. But we thought the Dodgers were going to explode for 110 wins. The way they were talking about the Dodgers, you watch the MLB Network, of course, they're going to play up the Dodgers anyway. But when they got Shohei, it was like, wow, who's going to beat the Dodgers this year? Well, the Brewers, here they are. And you hear MLB Network, it sounds like Philadelphia and Los Angeles Dodgers. Man, you might as well ticket them for the NLCS. The Brewers are only a couple of games behind them. Yeah, I would have liked to get Rogers. But low level, this is what I told you. With the Milwaukee Brewers, people have been asking, when I go on talk shows, where I run you great fans, and where I get your tweets and all that, are the Brewers going to make a move? And what did I say? I said the Brewers will probably make a low-level move, like Carlos Santana last year, Mark Canha. It is going to be one of those type of moves. They are not a franchise that wants to be all in like the Yankees and Orioles and the Dodgers will every year. That's just, and part of that, again, is the financial system in Major League Baseball, where a team like the Brewers cannot go for it. Although Kansas City they made a lot of moves. But the Brewers are not in go for it mode. And because I feel like they think now is not the time for them. Now is not the time. We as fans might think, hey, it's not like we should give up on this team, because I think there's a ton to play for. Look at these guys. Yeah, they lost on Tuesday night to Atlanta, beat them on Monday night. I want to avoid that first round series. I don't want to play Atlanta in a 2-game set or a 3-game set at AmFam Field. I don't want to play them. I don't want to play any of those teams that are in the wild card. All those teams could knock out the Brewers. Give me a first round bye and give me that second round so I got some home field advantage. No. I don't give me to that wild card round. And that second seed is plenty in play right now. Whether you think it's laughable or not, hey, people have laughed at the Brewers all season long. Well, hey, they're off to a good start. Well, they keep on winning. They're 15 games over the 500 mark. That tells me they have a shot. We always like to think the Brewers have a shot. It may not have a championship flavor to it right now, but man, I'm not going to count these guys out. It's a good baseball team. It really is. We come back out of this break. We'll talk about how the starting rotation is going to look. Joe Ross has a rough one. We'll see if he fits into the equation here in that starting rotation. And a few other things as well. The Brewers take on the Braves in the final game of the series coming up on Wednesday afternoon, a little bit later on this afternoon. 1:10 with that first pitch on SiriusXM, the SXM app. Search Brewers. And you're going to get all 162 of the home team broadcasts on Sirius XM. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the way to go if you want to play daily fantasy sports with over 5 million active members. They're the number one daily sports app out there. Easy, most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, Prize Picks, it's you against the number. You pick anywhere from 2 to 6 stat projections, more or less on a player. Let's say over half a hit on, Churio or so. I mean, you get good odds. You stack those together, and with those little 4 correct picks, you could turn $10 into 1,000. You can win 100 times your money. Get in on all the daily action with your friends and become part of Prize Picks community today. But you got to download the Prize Picks app today. Use that promo code LOCKEDONMLB and that first deposit match up to $100. Code LOCKEDONMLB, Prize Picks, that first deposit match up to $100. Pick more or less. It's that easy with Prize Picks. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Thank you, all you everydayers, making us your first listen. I get up in the morning and I see, man, people online watching the show. It makes me feel good because, man, we are a Brewers community. You and I. You guys know me well enough. I've been around Brewers baseball for a long, long time. And you know how the Brewers are my favorite team. Sure, we love all our teams here in the state of Wisconsin, but the Brewers are my team, our team, the team that we grew up with. This is our team. And, man, just because the Brewers front office might not be in go-for-it mode doesn't mean we can't be. So appreciate you, everybody, joining me here on a Wednesday. You get the podcast on Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download your podcasts. We are there. Just download the podcast, hit the subscribe button, and be a part of the audio version of our podcast. We drop it in the middle of the night, so it's there for fresh for you in the morning on your drive to work, taking the kids wherever, making sales calls. That audio version is there. Also, the video version. Go to YouTube. Search Locked On Brewers on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell. That'll alert you every time we drop an episode on Locked On Brewers. Our growing YouTube page, we're about to hit 3,500 on the YouTube page. When I started last year, we were somewhere around 800. We have grown the YouTube page. We are growing here in our great community, talking Brewers baseball here on Locked On Brewers. All right. We talked enough about the trading deadline day. It's come and gone for the Milwaukee Brewers. And it's time to look at the starting rotation for the Brewers. How does it look? Okay, here's how it looks. In my opinion, here's how I think the starting 5 should be. Peralta, Ray, Myers, Savale, Montas. Joe Ross, you don't make the cut. And we're not going to I don't even want to hear any talk about a 6-man rotation. A 6-man rotation is flat out dumb. I want as many starts for Peralta as possible. Okay, at this point. 6-man rotation, We're not going with a 6-man rotation. In fact, I want to get down to a 4-man rotation by September. I'm good with that because I'm trying to catch the Dodgers. I'm trying to catch the Phillies. So don't give me a, I don't want to hear a 6-man rotation. Joe Ross, man, Murphy said a lot of good things about you in the press conference, but we'll see where you land. Maybe you're going to get stretched and you're going to be put into that long relief role out in the bullpen. But I don't see with Peralta, Ray, Myers, Savale, and Montas, I don't see Ross cracking that. They didn't go out and get Montas to have Ross in that rotation and make it a 6-man rotation. They didn't get Savale to make this a 6-man rotation. They don't know. Let's get Myers starts. Let's get Ray, Peralta, Montas. We need these guys in a 5-man rotation. Ross, man, he got tattooed in the 3rd inning, leaving pitches over the plate. And I get it. First time starting in a while, but the Braves are settling in on him the second time through the order, and they weren't missing. I tweeted this out. It was a 2-0 game, and I said, no, let's get him out of there. They had Bryce Wilson starting to warm up in the bullpen. I said, get Ross out of there. And he gives that 2-run single to Rosario, goes from 2-0 to 4-0, and game, set, and match. Game, set, and match right there at the ballpark. I was there. You can feel the air drain out of the crowd. 5 innings, 8 hits. He threw 43 pitches in the 3rd inning. 43 pitches, Ross. Ross, spot of this team. I know a lot of you want him DFA'd. I saw a lot of that. Type in Joe Ross DFA on Twitter and watch all what comes up. A ton of it. I don't think they're going to DFA him. You need his arm probably in the bullpen. Do I want him in high leverage situations? Probably not. We'll see where they go with Joe Ross, but I do not want him in the starting rotation as of now, unless there's another injury where you have to start the guy. But tell me what you think of this. Peralta, Ray, Myers, Savali, Montas. And Montas is probably going to start over the weekend against Washington. That's what it sounds. I thought maybe there's a chance he'd start Tuesday. Probably going to start this weekend. They're going to throw him into the rotation this weekend. And they go on a 2-city, 6-game road trip, do the Milwaukee Brewers, and then come home next Friday, a week from Friday, against the Reds. So everyone got better, it seems, but the Milwaukee Brewers at the trading deadline. On paper, at least. We'll see how that comes out. All right, when we come back, we'll talk about Jacob Misiorowski. He's a name familiar with a lot of Brewer fans because he can bring it. He got promoted. Is he going to get called up in September? We'll talk about that coming up next. And somebody turns 90. We'll get to that story coming up next here as well. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. SupplyHouse.com. All you guys, you great guys out there who work sun up to sundown and are putting in all the hours. And I'm talking about you guys who have the skilled trades. You guys are the guys who make this country go every day. You guys, you have that certain mindset where you can take and build anything and prepare anything, man. I can't do it. You guys do. I hear from you, and SupplyHouse.com is a way to help you all out, getting supplies, helping you do what you got to do. Order plumbing, HVAC, electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources, the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory, over 200,000 parts, over 400 top brands. Get your orders delivered right to your door, fast shipping coast to coast. You need help with an order, they got expert customer service there. You're going to get a friendly voice and a live person every time you talk to them on the phone. Pros in the skilled trades, you can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free TradeMaster program. Every TradeMaster gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, discounts at every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/T-M. Order plumbing, HVAC, supplies, electrical supplies from anywhere. Just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. Man, you guys, the tradesmen out there, you guys make this country go. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Down the stretch we go. Brewers and Braves, final game of the homestand coming up Wednesday, 1:10. You get it on Sirius XM, the XXM app. You get every Brewer game. You get any baseball game whatsoever right there on the app. And 162, you're going to get the Brewers Braves coming up on Wednesday afternoon. With the home team contest, the home team play-by-play guys. You can also, if you want to switch over to the Braves. I switched over to the Braves tonight for a little bit. While I was at the ballpark, it's a little behind the action there, about a pitch or two behind. And they were talking about how they didn't like the chicken fingers at AmFam Field. One of the analysts in the booth on the radio side, I don't know his name, but he was talking, he gave the chicken fingers at AmFam Field a 2. A 2. He did not like the food there. Turned on to the Mets broadcast as well earlier. Guys, on there we were talking about Milwaukee. Says everything is cheese. Everything is cheese in Milwaukee. The guy was complaining because they were serving mac and cheese at AmFam Field at 10:30 in the morning. Hey, that's what we do. The Miz, Jacob Misiorowski, promoted to Nashville. Got a feeling this is a heartbeat away. He's going to get called up. It's in September. Nobody's saying anything about it, but I feel like they're ramping him up. Biloxi, great competition in that league. And he's going to get up to Nashville, and I think they'll keep him there for a little bit, and then he'll be here in September. That's my feeling. Although he's running just like last year. They shut him down last year, but he's exceeded his innings from last year already. That's the one concern. That's the one caveat here. Now, I think they're ramping him up to bring him up, and they're monitoring his innings. But will they shut him down again? Because he might have even exceeded his innings, I think, already from last year by like 7 or 8 innings. But I would think they're going to call him up in September. But the Miz has thrown a lot so far this year. We'll see if they shut him down and call him up. I think they're going to call him up in September. I don't see them shutting him down 2 years in a row, but what I say and the Brewers do 2 different things sometimes. Not all the time, just some of the times. Bud Selig turned 90. Bud Selig. Man, we got so much to thank him for. Was he totally responsible for keeping baseball in Milwaukee? Absolutely, in the mid-90s. Getting that ballpark, AmFam Field, getting the roof on AmFam Field. Yeah, was not great running the team when I say that, because he was handicapped because of the structure of baseball at the time, especially in the 90s. He wasn't spending any money, and Bud didn't have a lot of money to spend. But Bud, my number one thing with Bud is he brought baseball here. He kept baseball here for us to enjoy, because win, lose, or draw, we love our Brewers baseball. Bud Selig turned 90. I was at the ballpark 40 years ago when I was really, really young, when on the day he turned 50. And on the day he turned 50, he took batting practice with the team. He was standing around the cage like he often did, coat and tie, and it was a warm day. He just had the tie on, the shirt and tie. It was a warm day, and somebody said, "Hey, Bud, why don't you go take a couple of swings in the batting cage?" So Bud looked a little unorthodox going in there. Okay, he had the tie on, choked up, and took a couple of swings. I think he might have fouled a couple of pitches off. They were throwing really slowly to him, but that was when he turned 50. I didn't see Bud around the cage tonight as he turned 90, but hey, 90 years old, him and Bob Uecker were very fortunate to have those 2 guys still with us and still going strong, the both of them. But Bud Selig, we owe a lot to him for having the vision and courage to keep baseball, bring it here, and keep it here in Milwaukee. All right, that's going to do it. Rubber game of the 3-game set. What a pitching matchup coming up later on Wednesday. Freddie Peralta, 6-6, the ace of the Brewers staff. Chris Sale, 13-3. He's going to be tough. Low-scoring game, I got to believe. But, the Brewers fall behind a lot. Be nice to jump on Sale early in this game. Take 2 of 3. I did check the line movement. Early line has the early line movement toward the Braves, but sometimes that doesn't mean a hill of beans, but we'll see. Afternoon game, we'll be right back here late Wednesday night talking Brewers baseball, heading into the off day on Thursday. Chuck Freeman, thanks for making us your first listen to every day. Your second listen, if you want all the Major League talk, talking about trades and all that, Sully on Locked On MLB, he's got it all covered for you. Check that out as well. Thanks for making me, Locked On Brewers, the first listen to every day. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Have a great Wednesday, everybody.